see here. What's up, everyone? It is late, 11:15, and I am on live. What's up, James? I am on late because I you stopped watching my old late night for a new one. What's up, Brett, Jack, everybody, Patrick, Matthew, C3, Hank, Peter, Harris, everyone. So I was so my kids were gonna spend the night at our old it's really their best friend's house with it's about a 40-minute drive from here. So I drive the three of them over there at about, I don't know, 7 o'clock. Drive there 40 minutes, drop them off, come back 40 minutes. I get home. I sit down, start doing a little reading. All of a sudden, Dylan FaceTimes my wife and says, Lennon's not feeling well. She's got a stomach ache. She thinks she's sick. Can Dad come pick her up? So I get back in the car, drive 40 minutes each way, or drive 40 minutes there, and then Lennon says she feels fine. She's not homesick. She thought then I said, well, come on, and that brought her friend Madeline with her and Layla, and then on the way home, Lennon thinks she's going to get sick. But now she's feeling fine. But I wasted, how many hours is that? 40 minutes each way. That's 4 trips times 40 minutes. Oh, man. That's why I wasn't on. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to be on in time, but I'm an hour late here. So, what's up, Nari? What's happening? So, about the master class, sold out of VIP slots. Any of you that were interested in coming to the VIP part of it, those tickets are gone. Now only tickets to the actual event. But you should, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Oh my God. Driving kids around. So anyways, so that's the deal. No more VIP. Well, I might make one exception. I've taken them down, but I might have one more slot if somebody wants to come, email me from this channel. But as far as everything else, they're not for sale. The VIP slots are gone on the website. So if you want to come, Chris, to both things, let me know. All right, I'll work it out. I was driving home the other night. I talked about this, and I was playing some stuff for Aaron and Carol when I was driving back from Nashville the other night. I was basically playing them my SoundCloud. How many of you know I have a SoundCloud? It's kind of like my podcast. You guys know I have a podcast, right? Does anyone know about my podcast? Does anyone know about my SoundCloud? I actually have a SoundCloud that I forgot about. It's all production stuff. And so we got on that, and Aaron was asking me about, so I have a podcast that I've had for 6 months. And I have SoundCloud with probably about 40 different tunes on it that I produced. it was basically the so podcast is basically just the audio of my videos, because there's a lot of people that like to drive around, and that drive for work and want to listen to my videos, and most of my videos you can just listen to. Podcast is on iTunes, it's on Google Play, it's everywhere where you'd find podcasts. Um, so, and I have SoundCloud, and if you want to hear stuff I produce, so I'm listening to it. We're listening to some stuff, and I said to Aaron, I said, he brought up this song that I had done a video on, that he said was the reason that he subscribed to my channel. And I said, really? What was that? He said, you were mixing a song. You were talking about vocal production. And he went and found the video. And I said, and I said, oh, yeah, this guy, Michael Johns, that I produced. I wrote this song with him, and it was a song we never finished. He passed away in 2013. I've talked about him on here before. Super talented guy, unbelievably talented. Was on American Idol, finished 7th. He should have won, because he's a way better writer and singer than any of those goofballs that were on that year. And so I was trying to find the track, and I found it, but it won't open on my old computer. That's what I was actually trying to do last night. I was trying to open it. So I got it opened. And I was going to play it here and work on it. You guys want to see me work on it? I'm trying to reconstruct it. I don't have all the parts. It was just a demo. And I was gonna, I'm trying to reconstruct some of the plugins and things like that, which I don't have. But Mike came over. No, so we did a record together in 2000. We did 2 records together. I produced an EP and a band that he was in that was called Film. The EP is available on the iTunes store. It's for sale. It's, I don't know, $5 or something like that. It's a 6-song EP. And there's some great songs on it. There's a song called Chemical Wonder. I'd forgotten about it. We listened to it. Aaron couldn't believe. And I said, oh man, this is something I did in 2000 or 1999. It's one of the first production things I did was this record. So I had to buy the thing because I didn't have a copy of it anywhere. I had to buy it on iTunes. I mean, it's like I've had to buy tunes that I produced many, many times. I wonder if it's actually in my iTunes here. Let's see here. There's one song on it that was really, really great. I don't know if it updates this stuff. Let me see here. Recently added. Yes, it has it here. I'm going to play you one of the songs from here. Wait, I must authorize the account? I don't know how to do that. Oh, brother. Okay. From the account menu, authorize it from the account menu. What does that mean? Does anybody know what that means? That is me with a beard, Stuart. My computer account. Does that mean I have to go to iTunes or something? Or go to store? Okay. Let's see here. Store. Account. Okay. Logged in. Now what? Okay. Authorize. It says 5 computers are authorized to play content purchased on here. If I deauthorize all, that means I can't play anything? What is that? How does that work? Anybody know? It's asking to authorize the computer for the account. Yes, this computer. It says 5 computers are authorized to play content purchase with this Apple ID. If I deauthorize it, oh, forget it. I'm going to work on the other song. I can't figure this out. I'm going to have Aaron figure that out for me. Okay, so I'm going to pull up this track. Let me move this over here. Let me move my screen over here. And then let me switch over to this screen. Go like this. You guys can all see that, right? I'll have to pull over the... I'll have to pull this over. Yeah, iTunes got way too complicated. That's why do you think? That's exactly why I can't stand it. Okay. So, all right. So here's the beginning of the song. And I'll tell you the frustrating thing. We watched the video of me talking about it. So I'm sitting in the control room working on the song, and I was actually just EQing the vocal and editing the vocal. And I hardly played the song. And Aaron loved the tune. And so anyways, so I found it. I tried to open it on the other computer last night. It wouldn't work. But here's the beginning of it. I'll play you some of it here.
Come, walk in the unknown. Close your eyes and feel, and just let go. Take a breath as you're coming into life. There's another world to find if you just let go.
Okay, so I've got, I lost all my plugins and my vocals. Like I said, this is just a demo, so I'm going to put some compression on some of these other tracks, and I'm going to hit it with an EQ because the vocal's dark, because he sang it in the control room. I'll put the EQ after the compression too, because I don't want to EQ the compression. And then I'm going to put them on the harmony parts, same thing, just to... I'm sure I had compression and EQ on those things. So that's the verse part. Now, I have a keyboard bass on here, I think. I got to find out where it is here. So I didn't even play a real bass on it. I got to find out where it is. Looks like I had drums on it too, but I don't have the drum part on here either. So I'm looking around, and I need a bus compressor, so I'm going to put some bus compression on here. I'm going to go with this one. This is the Steven Slate that I like. I'm just going to bring up the default like Chrysler Algae Rock, let's say. This is a good bus.
Come, walk in the unknown.
Those are the electric guitars. This thing I must have an amp simulator on, so I have to put something on that. I'm going to put an amp simulator on this. We go to harmonics. I've got this Chandler, which is really good sounding right here. Like that. Let's see if it comes up here. Some of this stuff takes a second, especially since I'm streaming right now. It's making the processor work really hard. That's why I'm getting the spinning ball. It may crash the computer. We'll see. I've not actually opened this plugin before with this setup. And I didn't actually save before I did this. So it probably should have opened by now, so I'm going to have to force quit. It says not responding, right? So I'm going to force quit Pro Tools. I'm going to switch back to here. Then I'm going to restart Pro Tools, but I'm going to restart it from a. I'm going to restart that tune from the backup, and I've got it. Let's see, cancel, and session file backups. So I'm going to have to go back tonight at 10:56. Oh wait, no. Hold on, cancel. 10:26. So I didn't really lose anything. It says restoring tracks here. What's a Hackintosh? Oh, come on, man. Okay, I'm having to force quit Pro Tools again. Let me do this. Let me open it here. Boom. Okay, it's reopening now. What's up, Martin? No. Okay, now it's reopening. Let's see here. I've got the spinning wheel. This should open, but I'm using a lot of processing power here, and I think that the live streaming has something to do with the inability of the processor to play these tracks back, because it should not have a spinning wheel. This is restoring tracks, automation. I'm gonna open up an older backup here. Let's see here if I go back to 11:16, see if that opens. That'd be 15 minutes ago. That would be before I put on some of these, before I put on a few of these things here. So this may work here. Looks like something's happening here. Let's see here. Or did it quit again? Man, this is unbelievable. Let's see here. Pro Tools. Okay, this is my last try here. How much RAM? I've got 64 gigs of RAM. Looks like it's not opening. Ay. Okay, well, there we go. That was my try at that. For some reason, it's not. I think that I need to restart the computer. That's the problem. Is it the file or the plugins? I think it's the plugins that I'm using. I authorized a demo of a plugin, and I think something is really amiss with it. Try using my phone for the video. Maybe that's actually a good idea. So it's really tough to recreate things like this when you do these demos that are, I mean, this thing is, I don't know, 10 years old or something like that. Any advice for bands going through an unproductive phase? Don't work with them. Let's see here. What else we got on here? Let's see. If you have a second computer, you can use the OBS to port your screen to a different computer. Have that computer streaming. Huh. Could do that with my laptop. That's really kind of complicated. That's way too complicated. Um, let's see here. Joel asks, what's something you feel like you get better at consistently every day? Um, hmm. What's something I get better at every day? I wouldn't say video editing. I haven't really improved my skills on that very well. Um, I don't know if I'm getting better on the guitar every day. I'm getting better at making YouTube videos. I think I am actually. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, and I don't like people having conversations in here, Chris, while I'm trying to talk. If you guys want to have conversations, have them when I'm not on here. How's that? Brothers, just like kids. Um, so, um, so I've changed my style of making my videos. In case anyone has noticed over the past couple weeks or so, um, I have stopped introducing myself at the beginning of the videos. Um, I just get right into it. Anybody notice that? Peter, you think I'm more fluent in Final Cut? I think I'm getting better at it, but I'm taking the approach that if someone has never seen my channel, because it's over 1,000 people a day subscribe, so I figured that out of those 1,000 people, many of these people have never seen my channel. So instead of coming on and saying, hi, I'm Rick Beato, blah, 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 and my spiel, I just start in. Like today, I did my video on, today started my video, I was talking about the Ed Sheeran getting sued for $100 million. So this is I'm going to give you the part that I didn't talk about in the video. I called a friend of mine that used to work, that was senior VP in a performing rights organization. I'm not going to say which one. And I said, how much money do you think that, oh, see, I just had this UAD thing crash here. That's what was going on. Oh man, it's actually trying to open that Pro Tools session now. Hold on, let me force quit it. Hold on. So and so I said to him, I said, why are they suing him for so much money? That's an absurd thing. He said, well, one of the reasons, well, I mean, I deduced this, that you threaten to sue for an incredible amount and then you settle for far, far less if you can win the suit. I don't think there's any chance. I'm not going to say that they can't win the suit, because obviously the blurred lines thing was not even close. There was no, it was ridiculous. And a jury, favored the I don't know if it was Marvin Gaye's estate that sued them. I don't believe it was, actually. But he said, look at it this way. And he told me about a songwriter that wrote some really huge classics. He said that Ed, you have to think about it, because that song has 2 billion views on YouTube alone and is massive, one of his biggest songs. And you got to figure how much money Ed has generated, almost like it's a 360 deal. Okay? So they want a piece of everything that has been created from him becoming famous from having this massive hit. And I said, are these people living on this stuff? He said, yeah, of course. The families, there are 2 writers on the Marvin Gaye track, Marvin Gaye and Ed Townsend. And Ed's family is the one that's suing. So when you have a song that's been, famous since the 70s. It brings in, let's say, he gave me an example of a song from the 70s that's as big of a hit. And a 360 deal, Joel, is what labels do with artists, where they get part of their publishing, part of their live performance, part of their songwriting, or part of their sales, merch, everything. That's what a 360 deal is. They get a part of everything. So he said a song like that probably would bring in $500,000, something like that. This is, he guess $500,000 a year. And he said if you do the math, over the course of what's up, Vance? If you do the math over the course of let's say since 1990 even. Let's say that they've been making 500 grand a year since 1990. And of course, it was far more than it is now. The reason that they're suing is because that money has stopped flowing in, or it was far greater 25 years ago when people were buying albums and you were getting mechanicals and all these things from it. So 500 grand a year over 10 years is $5 million. Over 20 years, it's $10 million, So we're talking about pretty big sums of money that this stuff adds up to, right? One song brings in this kind of cash. So there's two generations of people that have been living, the heirs of these writers, Marvin Gaye's estate, his children, whoever, live off this money. They've been living off his publishing royalties he died in 1984. So now that there's very little money in there because of Spotify doesn't pay anything, right? So you have the person that's actually paying for the lawsuit. I talked about this a little bit. Is some investment banker that was the one that created that sold shares in David Bowie that people bought, and when he went public, I don't know, whatever it was, 15 years ago or so. Same group. Well, they, I'm sure, approached the Ed Townsend family and said, listen, because they've already been sued for this and lost for this song. They probably said, and they one of the reasons that they lost is that they don't have the money to fight these, it's like patent trolls, exactly. They don't have the money. Oh, brother. Hold on one second. Okay. So they didn't have the cash to fight Ed Sheeran's law firm, so they get these venture capitalists in there that fund the lawsuit, pay for it, and they'll probably if they win the money, they probably pay the family 30%, I would say. Something like that out of it. Maybe 50%. I doubt 50%. So let's say that they settle. They sue him for $100 million. They might use my video in the suit. That's true. I thought about that after. So let's say that they settled for $10 million. You get $10 million. The family gets $3 million. The venture capitalist gets $7 million. And I wouldn't say that Ed Sheeran has better lawyers than the record company behind him. It doesn't really matter, because if it goes to a jury like Blurred Lines, the jury, ruled in favor of whoever that was, Marvin Gaye's estate, I guess. It doesn't sound like it's worth the hassle if you already have $20 million. No. So Eric, here's the deal. they they um, they made 20 million, but they're not making any money anymore. They've lived off that 20 million over the past 20 years, but maybe they're only, instead of making $500,000 a year, maybe they're only making $20,000 a year, and they can't support themselves on that, so they have to get jobs or whatever. So if there's somebody willing to fund this lawsuit, and they're going to only get 30% of it, the better to get $3 million out of a $10 million settlement than, the settlement for Blurred Lines was $7 million or $7.5 million. So, never put your fate in the hands of 12 strangers. That's right, J-Bone. That's totally true. Because this thing is way closer than Blurred Lines was. And the melody's not even close. There's nothing. The lyrics aren't close. It's just the groove and they copied it. There's no question about it that they copied it. It's literally the exact same tempo. So, and you're right, Jimi Hendrix's sister does very well on her brother's estate, or whoever is getting the money. I don't know if it's his sister that's getting it. But whoever's getting Jimi Hendrix's money, these people that are, some of these people generate millions of dollars a year, and they have forever. Melody's not even close. That's right, Pap. So, the thing with having a lawsuit, though, and fighting these people is that, yes, Ed co-wrote it with two other people. Now, you can't copyright a groove, but apparently you copied, you can copyright a cowbell sound. Look, it's whatever a judge decides, whatever a judge decides, a jury decides is what's going to happen. Now, I got an email from a lawyer today, okay? And he said, this lawyer, just somebody I don't know, or maybe I do know him, let's see here. He said, about this. He says, he emailed me about the Blurred Lines thing. He says, come on, where is it here? It's really interesting. He says, Rick, I read the Blurred Lines appeal court holding over the weekend, and the court's opinion repeatedly states that both parties' failure to make timely motions at the trial to preserve issues for appeal made it so the appeal court couldn't later address the issues. So hopefully it doesn't mean the end of creative influence, but instead means make sure you make timely objections and the motions to preserve issues for appeal. Otherwise, like any other case, you get stuck with a bad jury verdict. Apparently, if this is correct, that these knuckleheads that are the lawyers for whoever got sued, Pharrell and Bruno Mars, no, Pharrell and who's the other guy he wrote it with, didn't file the correct appeals in time, and they're screwed over it. Right? They lost $7.5 million. So, it's absurd, right? Robin Thicke, thank you. You would think that is legal malpractice. So, this is ridiculous, right? Hold on one second. Yeah, it's insane. It's completely insane that that happened. Because it not only, had this gotten overturned, this has implications for the entire music business, this appeal. Right? So, that's the thing that is really bad about this. Because if this got overturned, then it would give these lawsuits less steam. Now, Zeppelin obviously won their suit, but I don't know about this. The melodies are not close, the lyrics are not close on here, but man, the groove is identical. You can't tell. When I transposed the Marvin Gaye song down a half step, and they for sure did the BPMs on this. I mean, you can't tell the difference between the tracks. It's almost seamless. Obviously, you got the B part that goes to E minor on Ed's tune, and that's nothing like it. The lyrics are nothing like it. The melody's nothing like it. Vance, you're right, Vance. A perfect fit, right? So definitely copied. No question about it. They copied the groove. They copied the instrumentation, essentially. They had the guitar. They had piano in the other one. But identical grooves, similar sounds, too. I mean, I was surprised when I cut the pieces together that how, perfectly they fit on top of one another. And obviously copying artists is nothing new, but you get a couple rulings like this, people that get sued for massive amounts of money. This thing could have legs. Maybe they'll introduce my video in evidence, or I'll be called as the musicologist. I showed how the two melodies are completely different. I mean, it's obvious. Anybody that has eyes can see. You don't need to listen to them. The jury doesn't need to, you don't have to play them both on guitar. You just look at them. Lawyers ruin 99% of everything 100% of the time. Scott, like that. Like that. A hostile witness. It'd be cheaper to sample the beat and pay the royalty. Exactly. Exactly, Stuart. That's completely correct. Wow. Didn't even think of that, right? Why didn't they just take that? If they sample the groove, well, they'd have to pay royalties on it. Well, no, they'd have to give them a co-rating. I don't know, honestly. I'm not sure. It's tough to say. But getting back to making the video like that, I've got some pretty strong feelings on these things. I think that some of these copyright lawsuits are completely legitimate and they should be sued. But I'll tell you 3 songs, okay? I thought about making a video. There's 3 songs that are way closer than this in the melody. Led Zeppelin, Going to California, Tori Amos, Silent All These Years, and Pearl Jam, Given to Fly. Okay, I know there's a delay here, so I said those 3. Does anyone know those 3 songs? Obviously, you know Going to California. Do you know Silent All These Years by Tori Amos? They all have the same descending. They have all the same melody in the verse over essentially the same chord progression. All 3 songs. But Zeppelin didn't sue them, right? You've heard the Zeppelin. The Pearl Jam song was a single too. They were all singles, All 3 very similar. Pearl Jam wins in my book. But you didn't see Led Zeppelin going after them. Of course not. Who's Zeppelin going to sue? So now I would do a video on that, but it would get taken down because Zeppelin is a blocker. Zeppelin's classy. They are classy. They wouldn't do that. Zeppelin themselves ripped off tons of artists, all these blues artists. How could you sue Tori? You can't sue Tori. Tori's amazing. Zeppelin went after a group who did Stairway to Gilligan Island. This is fascinating, though, right? I think it is. I think it's really, really fascinating. The More Than a Feeling Smells Like Teen Spirit thing, it to me is not. There's nothing like them. Kurt Cobain used the rhythm. The chord progression is not the same. It's just a da 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 da. I mean, that's the only thing. It's just the rhythm of the chords, and that's not. It's not even the chord progression the same. Zeppelin's a blocker. Zeppelin is all class. Yeah, that they kind of don't. Zeppelin's classy. Um, Zeppelin doesn't go. I mean, they may steal things, but they're not out suing other people. So anyway, so that was my thing. So I started making these videos a little differently lately, where I don't introduce myself, and I'm doing. I mean, I'm going to be doing I'm going to go back and I'm going to do like a film scoring live stream tomorrow or something, or I'm going to do a theory live stream tomorrow. But my last few videos are very different. My virtuoso video, my bass video, my guitar video, and I think I'm getting better at making videos. How are the views 6 hours in? The views were great on the let's see here. I think the views were really good on that. I'll tell you. The Ed Sheeran video. So 21,000 views in however many hours, 6-7 hours. That's really good. That'll do. This video will do 300,000. It's 20,000. It's 20,999, so 21,000. But the Gibson or the guitar video from yesterday, was it yesterday? 42,000. These are good. I mean, it's hard to get. I put out so many videos that to get. It's always a slow burn. The bass video is now at 111,000. The virtuoso video, which is before that, is at 241, almost 242,000. But this one, I did that Radiohead comparison with Lana Del Rey, and that's got 350,000 views. There's. I think that these things are really interesting. And I want my channel to be informative on many levels, not just on teaching people music, but teaching about production, about teaching about the law even, the law for what you can use as a songwriter, what constitutes copyright infringement, and what is legitimate, what you can legitimately steal, or steal, borrow, whatever. But the way that I presented the case, by looking at the verses without even singing them, looking at the rhythm and the notes on there, you can see that there is not. I mean, if I were going to present to a jury, I would say, you don't even have to listen to it. Just look at it. Do you see any of the same notes on the same lines? Do you see any of the same rhythms? No. You don't. So, there's no copyright infringement. It's just the groove that they were influenced by and they borrowed. Doesn't matter. People have been borrowing grooves forever. So there you go. So that's my deal with that video. The guitar video I thought more about since last night. The 1970. I don't think I can do it in one video. I can't do 1970 to 2018. I'm going to have to do 1970 to 1989, I think, and then 1990 to 2018. I really think that I've got to do that. I said that last night. I thought more about it. I think that yeah. Well, seventies and eighties, then the nineties on exactly. Because there's so many. I mean, the seventies, I'm gonna have repeats. I'm gonna put Beck, Page. I'm gonna put all those guys in, and I'm gonna have Pete Townsend in. I'm gonna have people like Roy Clark. People are like, why didn't you put Roy Clark in there? Because Roy Clark's playing wasn't as good in the '60s as it was in the early '70s. I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have people that overlapped. I mean, Joe Pass's greatest playing was really in the '70s, and Virtuoso '73. That was the pinnacle of his playing. But you get into David Gilmour, people like that, and then obviously all the '80s, all that you get Peter Frampton, you get Eddie Van Halen, you get Tom Scholz, you get people like that had original sounds, original guitar lines, things like that. Neil Schon, all them in the '70s. George Benson in the '70s again. I'm going to have George Benson playing properly on a properly. Do 10 years at a time. Easier to group. Maybe I will. Too many great players in that time. And you talk about the '80s. I mean, come on. That's where you got. I mean, you get Steve Vai in the late '70s too, but really '80s is Vai. John Petrucci, these people like that. I mean, all the guys. If you want to talk about all the guitar players from Warren DeMartini to Reb Beach to Vito Bratta to all these '80s metal guys. There's tons of them. And then '70s you have Metheny and jazz. You get. I mean, really the '80s. '70s and '80s, you get Schofield, you get Stern, you get Abercrombie, you get Pat Martino, you get Satriani and Paul Gilbert in the '80s. I mean, Malmsteen, So Al Di Meola, Paco De Lucia. So many great players. That's right. Roy Buchanan, Bill Frisell, Rory Gallagher, Terry Kath. I mean, really, Terry Kath could have gone in on the last one, the first record that has 20. I think Chicago Transit Authority, the first record was 69. I could have put him in there. But Fripp will be in the '70s. So I don't know. I got to think about this because the '70s had so many incredibly good guitar players. Mark Knopfler, first record, '78. So Alex Lifeson in the '70s. A lot of my favorite work. Larry Carlton, Phil Keaggy. I saw that come up. Robin Trower, Randy Rhoads, John Goodsall from Brand X, right? John Goodsall, yeah. You can go year by year in the '70s. Steve Howe, Frank Marino, Jay Graydon, Mike Bloomfield, yeah. Elvin Lee, of course. Ty Tabor, Holdsworth in the '70s, right? UK record. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, this is going to take a lot more time then. I may have to break them up in decades then. '70s, '80s, maybe '70s, '80s, and then '90 through '90s. Maybe '70s, '80s, '90s, and then 2000 and beyond or something like that. Got a lot of work ahead. 10-part series. And then I'm going to do the blues guitar one. I don't forget, I got Stevie Ray. I didn't bring him. That's in the '80s. Potato Man, I'm having a great night. Hope you're having a good night. So this stuff is fun. You know, this music history. This music history. The series should be on Netflix, Clayton. Exactly. Does anyone know anyone at Netflix that can get me? I want to be on HBO or Netflix. Man, imagine if I had a budget and I could actually get together with these people and go interview them. That would be unbelievable. That would be great. Get the Netflix Vance, right? I got the proof of concept already. I've already got the views. I've got the subscribers. I got people that I've already proved. Call Ken Burns. Who needs Ken Burns? He didn't even make a good jazz. I like Ken Burns, but his jazz one was not spot on. I'll get all the people that are still alive to be on it, you know? This is my proof. That's right. It's proven already. I've got proof of concept. I have the views. I have millions of views on my What Makes This Song Great. On that franchise, whatever you want to call it. Then this whole history of music, and the thing about it that I'm trying to pull people in. One of the reasons why I'm blending all these different stylistic styles with the classical, blues, country, rock, is that it's important for people to know that other things are out there. I think that I think that I guarantee you that people watch these. I guarantee you some of you watched that guitar video and said, I had no idea that these guys played like that. No idea. Don't forget jazz. I didn't forget jazz. What are you talking about, Pat? I had my huge thing right in the center of the video. I hit... yeah, see that? Glenn Campbell, Bill, blew you away. People have no idea. It's just... Glenn Campbell was the first shredder, man. He was killing it. I mean, just killing it. Glenn Campbell was I had no idea that I had no idea. Nare, what's up? Glenn was he could play anything. It's pretty amazing. Honestly, this is really crazy, but I was watching videos of him when he had, his dementia was his Alzheimer's was very advanced, and he could still play. I mean, he could still play. I mean, that shows you how deeply those algorithms and how deep they are in the brain. I mean, it's really amazing. Really amazing. All right, listen. I'm good here. I'm gone. You guys are amazing. This has been great tonight. It's helping me. This is helping me with my muscle memory. That's what it is, Vance. Really. But he had the ear still. I mean, you got to have the muscle memory, but you got to know where you're going with it, right? You guys are the best. We're all good. We'll talk to you later.